Hi, all. I'm Dan Smegrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, October 28th, 2021, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. We have an awesome show for you today. Captured 3D, Captured Creator Studio for targeting retail, museums, events, and education. And here to tell us about that is Stephen Kunis. Stephen is the founder and CEO of Captured. Hey, Stephen, good to see you again.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me back. It's great to be here. Really looking forward to this episode.
Awesome. And I'm excited to learn about Captured Creator Studio. But before we do, how about an overview of Captured for our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So Captured's been being built, I guess, for the past 6 years now. And it's a strong focus on providing tools that help any MSP or anyone working with Matterport to extend the value, not only to their customers, but also make their lives more efficient. So these things include custom floor plans, that includes site plans, 3D floor plans with colors and logos, everything at a single price, which is really efficient and turned around within 12 hours. Photo retouching, so optimizing photos, brighter grasses and skies and all the rest of it. We have a scheduling and booking form, so you can automate your bookings and actually collect payment all through our system and all automatically. Branding overlays, which we've gone through in different episodes. I think all of these things we've gone through in different episodes of your show before. So we have our branding overlays, our one-page website, and our one-page website template builder. And we've also got our client portal, so you can invite clients into the system in itself. And the whole past year, we've been focusing on the SDK and API features, which we're going to be going through today, which has all been bundled into our Creator Studio. And that, excuse me, connects to our augmented reality app as well, which is AR Connect. And so everything we do go through today, we'll be showing the web version, but it is also available in augmented reality.
Awesome. I would add two things to that, Stephen. First, sign up today, free account for Captured. Use the We Get Around Network affiliate link, wgan.info/captured, CAPTUR 3D, and receive a $90 Captured credit to take Captured for a spin. Obviously, many different services to try. I think of Captured as a Swiss Army knife for Matterport overlay services. And yes, you've been on the show multiple times. And for those that are interested in a deeper dive, we've done 7 strategies to sell floor plans as an add-on with Captured, augmented reality of Matterport spaces powered by Captured, DIY virtual staging of Matterport spaces powered by Captured. We've had another guest on talking about how to DIY virtually stage a Matterport tour using Captured 3D. That was by New Interior Solutions founder, online interior designer, Francesca Tassolini. If you want to see any of those shows, go to the We Get Around Network Forum, WGANforum.com. In the search box, if you just type in Captured, CAPTUR 3D, and the word transcript, it'll pop up all those shows that I've just mentioned. Or if you're interested in even a deeper dive, look for the tag section and just select the tag Captured, CAPTUR 3D. Stephen, a lot to talk about today. Maybe where we could begin with Captured 3D Creator Studio, perhaps is show us a finished Matterport space that shows some of the Captured Creator Studio features, and then we'll maybe go into a deep dive of how do you actually do that.
Yeah, absolutely. As I go to share my screen here, the example that I'm going to be showing here is a museum example. But as we go through today, we're going to be talking about different industries and how some of these features can assist with it. And so some of the things that you'll see as I move through here, and I'm just going to quickly stop talking so you can hear the location-based audio to begin with, because there is a starting point here. I'm just going to click it on for 1 second.
So, Stephen, I don't actually hear anything, so I don't know, perhaps when you shared screen, we needed to check the box that said share audio.
That may have been the reason.
Do you want to try and take it off screen share? Go back in, go slowly, look for that little checkbox for audio.
Share sound. Optimize video. Fantastic. All right, let's try. All right. They're coming through now.
Yamakura. We acknowledge the Gadigal and Gadagalian, who are the owners and custodians of the land on which this exhibition is built. We pay.
Is that coming through okay that time, Dan?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. So that was the audio, and as I move through the space, it's got different audio backgrounds to show the different pieces and provide ambience into the area in itself. You'll see here, there's your standard matter tags, but also our custom tags, and we'll go through how we build these, the icons and the different availabilities within them as well through this program today. This one's just an audio.
Excuse me, Stephen, is the audio triggered as I walk and I stand on a scan point, or do I actually need to click on the audio icon that I see?
So there are two different types of audio, which we'll go through today. The location-based audio is based on where you move. And then these points here are for the exhibition itself that have for accessibility purposes for reading tags and things like that from the space itself. And so we'll go through both of them today.
Looks like a great use case for a museum.
Absolutely. So this is a media embed, so video wall, all aligned as well. And so this is just making it feel as if you're actually there. This also is viewable in the dollhouse if we come out into this point here. And so it's all visible within that area. As we continue.
So that's amazing. So instead of using a matter tag to do a video embed where it pops up, you've actually embedded the video within the Matterport tour and sized it accordingly.
Correct. Yes. And there's a few different ways that this can be used. Museums, again, is a really good example, and that's why we're showing it. The one that was there played automatically on loop, but we also have the ability, like these two, to click and play. And again, they do have audio with them. I've just muted it at the moment, and having the spaces within it. And so providing the different tools to your end user, and we'll go through these different settings today as well. So that's custom tags, that's audio, and that's media embed. There is one last one if I can find the egg room. And here, so within this space, we've also placed 3D assets. And so you mentioned before that we did a DIY virtual staging episode not too long ago. It's the same tech that's just been optimized, and rather than having couches and things, we've actually got 3D scans of these precious eggs from Indigenous Australians that have been created. And now you can see them in a much larger format sitting within that space itself as well. So that's that. So that's the virtual staging part, the tags, the audio, and the media embed. Should we dive into showing how it's all done?
Yep, that sounds great.
So, I've prepared a standard property here for us to play with today and edit. It's just a house, but everything that we go through is applicable to any space that you've captured with a Matterport. We're seeing a lot more recently museums, galleries, and the like being created within our tool set. And maybe towards the end, I'll see if I can find one. A lot of people doing virtual galleries now as well. So scanning an empty space and then virtually hanging the furniture. So for those of you who are new to Captured and our series of episodes, this is Captured, what we're looking at here in the back end. This is where all of the fun and excitement happens. As you can see, we've got all of our different tabs for the tour, the assets, that's where the photos and floor plans live, our one-page website, our augmented reality tool, analytics, and all the property info. Today, we're going to be focusing on the Creator Studio. So you can see here on the right-hand menu, we've got the Creator Studio button. And if we jump into Creator Studio, it's going to take over our screen and dive us straight into editing the space. Beautiful. So the first thing that it's landing us on here is virtual staging. So what I'm going to do is jump through the property here into the space. Let me know if it's coming through okay, because sometimes when I'm doing staging on a screen share, it doesn't always. Beautiful. So in this room, it's quite empty. Obviously, we've got different ways of being able to select assets, but I would like a bed to put in here. And so let's find this bunk bed should do. I click on the bunk bed and I can see the outline of where it's going to land. And if I put it on the wall, you can see it's tracing the wall as well. So I'm just going to place it on the floor here. Once it's placed, I can move it quite easily, left and right. And you can see that it will get cut into the different areas. And I can also resize it if it's not quite the size that I would like it to be. So I can bring it down to being a little bit smaller, and then making sure that it's in the corner of the room. When I click off of it, all of the colors and the textures come into play. And so it's really easy to place an asset, as you've seen in there. We've got hundreds of assets here that we can move through. So let's say I would like to put this sofa bed, which looks like a couch more to me. This is another really good example. So we've placed an asset here and it's facing the wrong direction. Clicking the rotation button down here in the corner, I can rotate the asset to where I'd like it to go and then move it into place like we did with the bed. And then placing it in the back there. Click off and the textures come in. So these assets here that I'm showing you through, I'll just move back to this point here. We've got hundreds, if not thousands of assets now. And if I jump out of this and we can go through the different categories. So appliances, bathroom, bedroom, decor, kitchen, lighting, seating, storage tables. And these are some of the newer ones that we may not have gone through last time I was on the show, which is workstations, collaboration, boards, technology, plants, outdoor, and vehicles. And so we've gone more from real estate to commercial real estate to offices and now to a little bit more uniqueness within the space.
I think what I would say on this piece of the Captured Creator Studio, I would refer our viewers to the full-length show that you did specifically on this topic, DIY Virtual Staging of Matterport Spaces Powered by Captured. Unless there was something that was like burning that's new since we did that show back in February that you wanted to show us.
Not quite new, but just the last part there is just placing those assets there. These are all supplied. Obviously, you can upload, and this is all now got built-in functionality. So being compressed, so things that you're not seeing, but we're working on in the background is compressing and optimizing these assets so that they work on mobile within the environment and as best as possible on all pieces there. There are going to be a couple of surprises coming in the very near future, which I can't give too much away for right now, but this logo might, for those of you in the know, and that will be released very, very soon. But that is virtual staging. So I'll move into the next room and we can stage it with the next feature that we've got available here, if you'd like. So the next one in across here is media embedding. And so you saw it in the example that I just showed you from the museum, where you can easily embed a video wall or an image anywhere in the space. So a nice blank wall works as a great canvas for any of these sort of things. So I'm going to upload a video here. No, it works. I haven't got one. Let's see if I can find a image.
So reminder that you can set up a free Captured account, use the WGAN affiliate link, wgan.info/captured, CAPTUR3D, and you'll receive a $90 Captured credit when you set up an account for the first time.
Perfect. So what I've done here is I've uploaded an image. It can be any image. In this instance, I've just grabbed one from my computer, which happens to be a floor plan of this property. As you can see, again, I've got a tracer so I can see where I'm placing this. And as I drop it in, I've now got an image. This is just a static image on the wall. And so rather than putting something in a matter tag, you can now bring it forward and bring it over the top.
So this could be either a static image like you're showing us or a video.
Correct. Yeah, I'm just trying to find a video on my computer. I thought I'd prepared one earlier, but it looks like it's in the wrong format. The other part to this is also resizing as well. And so being able to resize. So if I click on this image.
Okay. So what formats does the video need to be in?
MP4 is what we recommend for the best use case for it. So let me just.
In fact, I don't know if this is a great solution or not. I'm not that sophisticated when it comes to video, but I had a challenge where I had a .mov file and I needed to be a .mp4 file. I uploaded it to Vimeo and then it let me download
As an MP4.
as an MP4 file. Yeah.
Interesting. Let me quickly see what this one is on VLC. Hopefully you can't see me moving around.
London. Amazing.
No. Okay. All my videos seem to be mobs. Sorry. Give me 1 second.
So I know your tech team is watching and they're going to look at this and go, oh, we need to either accept additional formats or we need to be able to offer a converter service.
A converter service is very good. A very good idea.
Yes, but at least there's a workaround with using Vimeo to upload one file format and get it down as a different one.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. I have found one that we can use. All right. So let's jump in. So let's find a nice wall here. Another one on the other side.
Do you have any recommendation in terms of file size for video, resolution, length?
So it depends on the experience that you're curating. We do have a file size limit that you can see here, which is 100 megabytes for a single asset. And that's both for the 3D assets that we do virtual staging with, images or videos. And the reason for that is for compression purposes. So in the background, we're compressing and optimizing everything that's uploaded. So when you load a virtual tour, it's not loading everything at once and breaks everything, which you may have seen in the past. It's loading things as it becomes viewable and it's optimized for the device that it's on. And so what we recommend is uploading the best version of your content, as long as it's under 100 megabytes, and then our system will be able to take it on and do what it does best. So if I was to place this video on top of the fireplace, let's have a look here. See if I can jump back here. Might be better to move this one and that one. So as you can see there on the right hand side, I just easily deleted the pieces as well. So super flexible in the way that things work. Again, I can make these bigger. So if I put that to 2 on the right hand side, it's going to make it twice as big. Back into media. And so I've placed this media on the wall. Because we're in the edit mode, it's not going to let me play the video, and that's on purpose because we're needing to be able to move it around. If you did want to see it, we have a preview function. But before we get there, there's a couple extra settings that I quickly wanted to go through. Everything that I'm playing with here on the bottom right-hand corner is all around the position, the rotation, and the size of the asset itself. And we have complete flexibility in terms of the decimals that you can move towards, but we understand as well that this is not for everyone. And so we have these simple buttons down here that you could easily just drag and pull pieces around. So whether it's rotating, scaling it, or positioning it on the wall. The other part here is the settings. And this becomes really useful. And I showed a couple of those examples in the museum where one was auto playing and another was on a click play. And so there's 3 options here that we make available that our providers can make use of. So the video plays on loop. And so once it starts playing, it continues playing. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why you might want this as a background video wall playing in the background. But in some cases, you just want that video to play once. Otherwise, it could get repetitive depending on the space that you're in. Autoplay. And so there's a few options here. So off is what you saw in the museum example where there was a play button on the wall and you click play and it starts standard video. On view is something that I really like. And so once that video comes into view of the person that's in the tour, then it will start playing automatically without them having to touch anything. Before that and after that, it's just going to pause and just wait. And on start means when the tour loads, the videos will also load and be automatically playing when the person gets there. And that was that first video section that I showed in the museum. You could see it playing from a while away. And as I moved towards it, obviously it was more prominent in itself. For this one, I'm going to have it on view. We'll put it on and then audio. And so does this video have audio? And you can turn that on and off. And so it could be muted and you can have it muted on start. We do recommend that because depending on the different settings that you have on the video, if the person in the tour starts hearing audio, they don't know where it comes from, it could be quite disorientating. And so having those different options there are available. But again, there's times that this is useful, and that's why we've provided it as an option. And then spatial audio as an option there as well. And so as you move closer to that media, the audio is going to get louder, and the further you get away, the more dull the audio will be. Do you have any questions, Dan, on those
Well,
settings?
first, I would congratulate your tech team. That is awesome. And I'm looking at the interface, and it certainly looks simple enough. So I suppose I'd like to see a preview of the video.
Perfect. And so we're going to click a save as draft here, making sure that it's all saved up. And then a little icon here to preview. It's going to open up the tour itself. We're going to do this a few times today with the different examples. You'll see here as well, web standards dictate that if you have audio on your website, you have to let the person know that's arriving there. It's just good user behavior, because let's say someone's in a library and you've got a really loud audio track. They didn't know there was going to be audio. All of a sudden it starts blaring. That's not what they want. And so we've got a splash screen. This is all editable as well. And I'll show you where you can edit this when we get to the audio section. So you can edit these titles and everything around it as we go through. So I'm going to click start with audio. Nothing should be playing because obviously there's nothing here. As we move through the space, we should see our staging that we did in the first room. We move into this second one, and we've got our video.
Hello, darling. How are you?
You can see that started as I moved in, and as I look away, it pauses. So this is on view feature. Look back, pause.
If I stood on the scan that's in the doorway, is that considered I'm in the view?
If your view on the screen looks at it, then it will start. So if I turn here, grab it.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. That's awesome. I said we had an awesome show for you today. That is awesome.
Yeah. And so that, just going back for those of you who are watching, so they're the settings that I used on this one. So the video would play on loop, so it will continue to play over. I've got it on view, and that was the example I just showed, right? So if I change this now to just off, and I save this again.
Do you have an auto save that's happening as well, or?
There are auto saves in the background, but our system also doesn't let you exit unless you choose to save or not save. And so there's a few different fail safes within that process. The reason why we've got that button, and the team's actually working on a more updated version of this at the moment, is because it's saving across 4 different pieces. And it's quite technically challenging for our team, but we've got a really good solution coming up very shortly for that as well, because there's got to be different iterations for different drafts and things, so you could have multiple versions of the same property. So if we jump back into this room now, I've turned off that autoplay. As you can see, it's a standard video wall. You got a play button there, really straightforward. I click on it, it's going to play. And so that's really quickly how I can change.
I'm just confused on one thing there. I'm looking at a rectangle, but what was playing was a square within a white space. Was that actually what the video was? It is the full rectangle, but only a portion of the video was playing?
Yeah, so the video itself, and apologies, I had curated a much better video, but it was just in the wrong file type. That is the video itself, and so it's got that wide rectangle. If your video was of a square and your aspect ratio, what you upload into our system will play in that aspect ratio.
I think I missed actually seeing you move the video wall and resize the video wall.
Yep. So if I want to bring it into a different location here, all these arrows.
Click and drag on the arrow to go up or the arrow to go right. And there actually is one to bring it off the wall.
Yep, off the wall or even through the wall. So always finding that nice sweet spot on the wall. And then the resizing side is within the scale. So if I click on that, and let's say I make it bigger. So I could end up taking over a whole wall, and we have seen these in the past. These are also really good use cases, but also for the image embed for, if I grab that image again and place it on the wall, is for covering things up. I know we've got the blur tool available, but it can be a little bit finicky sometimes. And if you wanted to cover, let's say, a family photo from a real estate point of view, because they don't want their family photo in there, obviously, it becomes a lot easier to do it with an image overlay. And so you can place a different image on top of the family. And then that's available on every sweep that's looking at it, including the dollhouse. And so you don't have to go through and blur each individual image in itself. If I go back to here, into my media, I might make this a touch smaller, pretty big now. Great.
So this is really awesome because previously you would need to put it in a matter tag and then click on the matter tag. Now, boom, it's on the wall and you got lots of options. You want it to immediately play, immediately that you need to hit a play button, or that you're approaching it. It's awesome. It's very, I think what you've done there is you've created magic, and creating magic is hard work. So you've taken, your team has, I guess I would describe it, it's hard work making it look so easy. And so what we're looking at is, oh, well, that's easy. But I'm sure that was incredibly hard work for your team to actually execute. So congratulations to your team. It's awesome.
Yeah, massive congratulations to the team. The amount of hours that they put into thinking about the UX around this and making it as simple as possible. What we're going through today are quite technical examples, because if anyone that works in animation or within 3D art creations, there's a lot of software tools out there like Maya and 3ds Max, which are really complicated and where we get a lot of our thinking from, but trying to make it as simple as possible for anyone to make use of is where, as you said, the magic kind of really happens. And yeah, massive kudos to the team itself. So that's Media Embed in a really small nutshell. We're going to be continuing to build this out with a few other interesting features in the near future. But right now it's at a really nice point around just being able to place things really quickly. And you could do this super quickly and just go through a house and move those things through in itself.
So in the top left, it says video, but that's because you've clicked on the video icon. If you went to the icon below that video camera, then it's going to say images. Okay, great. Does audio show up in the same place, or audio is actually implemented in a different place? Yeah, okay.
So audio is implemented in a different way, and because it's different styles of integration. We'll go through that in a second. It's a really good point here. So the video icon at the top here, and then image one, we do have another one coming in very shortly, which is known as volumetric video. So it's a 3D capture of an individual or an avatar being able to be placed into a space. And so you'll see that be populated here in the near future as well.
Cool. So once I upload images and video, is that in a library that is for this tour only, or is that available to my other tours as well?
So this, each time you upload an image or a video, it's associated to the property itself at the moment. But we are taking requests, and if there is a need for having an asset gallery, that is something that we will definitely look into. It also pulls in assets from your property page and captured. So we didn't go through this page today, but everything that we save then sits in the assets page as well, so you can make use of. And so you can see there's two things that I've uploaded here available in our property page in itself.
Cool. The video that you showed us, do you think of that as custom matter tags, or is that yet something different?
That's something different again. Yeah. So this is just media embedding. Custom tags allows us to change the icons and put in different functionality, which we'll get through at the end, because I'm going from right to left up here. So staging, media. Should we dive into audio?
Yes. Great.
Now, so audio, as I mentioned before, has slightly different integration in itself. And so what it does is it pulls up all the audio sweeps, so we can select different areas to operate on. So I'm going to upload a couple audio files, and this one I did test, so I know it's going to work.
While you're doing that, what I would do is to challenge our viewers. Think retail, museums, events, and education in terms of verticals. So as Stephen is showing media embeds of photos or media embeds of video or adding audio, say, "Ooh, how does that trigger for you?" An existing client of how you may help, or a potential client because of this particular feature that Captured's offering.
Yeah,
And
exactly right. I'm
Stephen, you
doing.
may have some ideas too as you're going through adding elements. I think your museum is a great example, which probably fires on all cylinders of embedding photos, video, audio, and custom matter tags. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Museums are going to be one of those examples that will make the most out of all of the features. But each of these could be used in so many different ways. As you can see, I'm using a backdrop of a normal property, and we showed you an example to begin with the audio within a museum. But what I've actually curated here is an example of how audio could be used in real estate. And so providing a guided tour, but a guided tour could be for anything. So whether it's real estate, retail, a gallery in a museum, hearing the artists, it's just super simple. So what I was doing as we were speaking just then, Dan, was uploading 4 different audio files. And what I did was I actually recorded this audio myself off my phone and then uploaded it into Captured. What I can do here is at the entrance, if I click plus, and we have 2 options here. And so a background track and on the scans. And so a background track is an ambient audio track that will play no matter where you are within a property. Pretty straightforward, right? We're putting a audio file on a URL and it will start playing. The scans is where it's really interesting. And from a Matterport point of view, really, really useful. So if I click on scans here, I can now click on the scans that I'd like this to be playable on. So as an entrance, I would like it to play on all of the sweeps that are out the front of this property into the front door. And then just clicking save by the, done by clicking the tick button down here. I can see that the sweeps or the scan points that I've associated that audio tour to, is all available there. And so when a user is standing on any of these sweeps, they're going to hear the audio that I've recorded in that instance. And then if I just do it quickly, so to show you how it transitions, if I do this bedroom one, so assign to scans again, and I select all of the sweeps that in that bedroom, and you can see they're different colors as well to help you associate as you're moving through this. We work quite closely with a lot of museums, and so it's important for us to be able to see this at a high level. I'll click save again. The last couple here I'll quickly do just to round it all off is within the dining room. So this is the dining room here. As you can see, the labels have provided that. And last but not least is the living scans. And don't worry, we'll go through this again in a little bit more detail once I show you how it actually works. And so, my apologies, click the button. So now you can see that we've got 4 main areas here: the front, the bedroom, the dining room, and the living and kitchen area. And you can see all of the associated sweeps here on the right-hand side for it as well. I'm going to save this as a draft again, and we're going to jump into the preview so you can hear what this sounds like. Again, we're going to be met with the sign that says we've got some audio in this tour.
Welcome to 297 Napier Street. Come inside this beautiful property and take a look around. Welcome to 297 Napier
That's
Street.
on loop.
Come inside this.
And we can show you how to turn that off in a moment. And so now it's gone quiet because I'm no longer on those sweeps. And if you remember, this is where I started the bedroom sweep.
You went a little bit fast for me. Could we go back up to the
This
dollhouse?
first bedroom
for a
is
second?
one of 2 bedrooms in this house with beautiful sunlight.
The dollhouse.
Yeah. And back to the entrance, please.
Beautiful property and take
So-
a look around.
So no matter where I fly in, if I hit one of those scan points that has been set up as a trigger for the entrance audio, it'll launch it. So whether I started the tour on the first scan, or I came in through the dollhouse, or I came in through a floor plan view and I hit any of those, it's going to trigger it.
That's correct. Yeah, I've just got it on mute now so that we can have a conversation.
Okay.
But if I take this off,
Napier Street. Come inside this beautiful property and take a look around.
it doesn't matter where you move within this space, you're going to be fed that audio.
And it will either loop or not loop. And if it doesn't, and either way, if I'm walking from one scan point to the other, it's not going to stop and start playing it again.
Correct. Yeah. So on these sweeps all in front of us here on the screen, including this one here that my mouse is on now, this all has the entrance audio in it. I purposefully left this sweep here without any audio, and then the bedroom audio will start on that sweep. And so if I move down this hallway, I'll turn the audio on. You can hear the audio fade out, pause, and then move into the next one as we move through that space. So I'll let it play.
Welcome to 297 Napier Street. Come inside this beautiful property and take a look around.
So right there's nothing. And as soon as you jump onto the next sweep,
Coming in from the main room.
So I think what I'm hearing there is a best
This
practice
first
is
bedroom is one of
to have a scan point that doesn't have audio. So when you walk from one piece of audio and I'm not interested in hearing it to the end, at least it'll fade down before I get to the next one beginning to play.
yeah, correct. And even if you did have two audio streams right next to each other, the way that it's been built is that it's not going to just abruptly stop one and start another, because that's not a nice experience. It does fade down. So it's got second fade down, second fade up. And so you'll get these gradual fades moving through the space in any case.
So do you still recommend putting at least one scan point without audio?
It depends on the space, right? So if we're looking back at this, if I click on these ones again, it will. Let me just quickly restart this for a second. I just want to bring those scan points up again. Great. So it depends on the space that you're working within. I think it didn't make sense for me to put a bedroom audio on that sweep because you can't see the audio on number 8. But maybe I could have left the entrance ones in there. And so hypothetically, let's say that that's what we wanted to do. We've tested it out. We're like, oh, actually, we want to have the entrance audio there. So clicking on the entrance audio and then clicking on that one again, it's just that simple to include it in that stream now. And so being able to edit this is super easy around the different pieces that we've got. And so the other part as well that we were discussing a moment ago are the settings. And so we've got them down here at the bottom. And so this is set on the scans, obviously, and we've got it on loop. I'm going to turn the loop off. And so it only plays once. And so if you're in this audio, it will play that audio once, welcoming you, and it won't play it again until you move out. If you move back into it, it will start again, but it won't just sit there looping constantly. There are instances where you want that, like ambient sounds in a certain part, but for this, we'll keep it like that as well.
File formats that are acceptable for audio?
MP3 is what we currently accept. And so it's a pretty widely accepted format.
And is the limitation on the file size, is that based on individual audio clips or is that based on the total number of audio clips?
There are no limits on the audio side of things, just because the file sizes are usually quite small, but everything on Capture does have 100 megabyte file size, but I don't see a video reaching that. Sorry, audio.
Audio, okay.
Reaching that. The last part here is this description. So I mentioned before that we have those pop-ups at the start to let people know that there's audio in the space. We have it with default. This tool has sounds to enhance your experience, but we can change this to testing to see. Again, we'll save and we'll jump back in to this example. So you see the text has changed to what we're seeing, testing to see. I'm going to start.
Welcome to 297 Napier Street. Come inside this beautiful property and take a look around.
And because we turned it off loop, we're only going to hear it once. And we place it on that one. As we move through the next one.
This first bedroom is one of 2 bedrooms in this house with
That's
beautiful
so
sunlight
awesome.
coming in from the
And
main.
then as soon as I jump off of it, it's going to go away. I didn't put any audio in here. So that's fine. As we move through here, the dining one will start here.
This property has a separate dining and living room, allowing for 2 separate living spaces. This is the beautiful dining room in front of us here, and moving through to the kitchen and living room into the other area.
And then as I move into
As you can see, this is an integrated kitchen and lounge area, beautiful for entertaining and great for any family environment.
And as you can see, it was pretty easy for us within a couple minutes to place those audio, or not even a couple minutes, place those audio sweeps in that space. And now we've curated a pretty amazing experience. And again, this one was an example that we did for real estate because that's the property that we're working with. But you can see how this could be useful for museums. All museums, or a fair portion of them at least, have those guided audio tours that are usually done by Bluetooth beacons. They've already got that content, and usually the content's some of the most expensive part to get. And so if you're working with museums or galleries and they've got that information, be able to integrate it as an additional offering to what you're actually providing them as a line item. So you're able to charge more. We can bring in your audio, have it curated within that space. Similarly with retail, we've seen a few retail stores making use of this, more so in the background audio rather than the sweeps. And so a lot of retail stores like to play the right audio for their audience. Being able to put that on into the space is super, super easy. There's actually if I was to change this, for instance, to a background track down here on the right hand corner, you can see that what it would do is it would play that audio over the entire property, including the dollhouse and floor plan, if I chose it to. But obviously today focusing on the location-based audio.
That's awesome. And that question comes up frequently in the We Get Around Network forum. How do I add audio? How do I add audio for the entire tour? How do I add audio for one scan point? So Captured 3D, Captured has figured it out. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see just being able to choose your different scan points. We're trying to make this as easy as possible. And we're not going to be going through it today, but everything that we are showing works in our AR Connect app, which again, we've gone through before on a separate episode. So now by having augmented reality and audio, you can move through the house or the property or the museum and hear the audio that you've placed within this space as well.
Do you think Captured will be adding some royalty-free music libraries options?
It's a good point, actually. It hasn't come up as a request, but it's definitely something that we can look into. We could definitely get access to different libraries for background audios and things for sure. One thing that we are looking at building in at the moment to make our customers' lives a lot easier is a record button. So you can actually record your audio within here and have it saved directly into one of these pieces. When I did this yesterday, it was quite easy. I just used the voice memo on my phone and then uploaded it to my computer. But it's a couple steps, right? And so being able to do it straight into Captured, I think is going to be super useful into the future.
Cool.
Beautiful. So that's the audio side of things that we've gone through. So read through virtual staging in the first room. We did some media embed in the second room. We did audio across a fair chunk of the property. And the last one we're going to show through today is custom matter tags. So we are all pretty well versed, I'd assume, on what matter tags can provide from Matterport. And what our team did was reinvent them in a certain way, things that we would like to see in tags and how we would like to use them. The first thing that you'll see here to begin with, creating a tag. So you can create matter tags or custom tags as we call them straight into Captured. Why this is important versus doing it in Matterport is because you could use the same base tour, and I've used this exact tour that we're working on right now hundreds of times, and place different tags on them in each different Captured tour. And you won't need to replicate the Matterport tour. So keeping your hosting costs down in Matterport. And so different layers for different pieces.
I think I might hear something else on that too, because I might process my tour, it comes back and I'm not happy with it. I need to reprocess it. And I'm not happy with it. I'm going to trim it again and I'm going to reprocess it. If I was doing matter tags, I'm going to lose all my matter tags every time I think the example is you add the matter tags, you enhance it, you send it to the client, and the client says, oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. But there's just one thing I'd like to change is I think you need to trim that little speck off. And if you go submit that back to Matterport, you lose all your matter tags on that new model. And I think what I'm hearing is if I use Captured for adding the matter tags or the custom tags, then I could reprocess that model over and over again and not have to go redo my tags again because I have a Captured overlay, and I might have, even for the same property, Captured overlay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for different reasons. And so you've solved yet another problem by the way you've handled it. Is that right?
Yes and no. So if you were to upload a tour and then reprocess and then re-upload a new one, you'd still have to go place those tags into the new one because it's a separate baseline file. But as Matterport released their trim tool earlier this week, hopefully that's going to come a lot less often for everyone around. This is more so for, let's say, we'll go use the museum example again. And you have a beautiful tour scanned gallery and your client wants to have it in 5 different languages. So rather than you duplicating that exact same tour 5 times in Matterport and putting your tags in 5 different languages for that, you only need that tour in Matterport once and you bring it into Captured 5 times. And then you can have each of those language sections in Captured separate. And so it's saving you hosting limit on the Matterport side.
Yeah, I see that in so many different ways, because for education, you might have one set of tags for students and you might have a different set of tags for teachers. You might have yet a third tag for administrators. Someone wants to know about safety issues and it's not for the students, it's annotation related to all the safety measures that are in school. Just picking an example. Event space might be configured 5 different ways. So here are the tags that explain it for banquet, for wedding, for bar mitzvah, for whatever special event, and what's unique about that space for that particular. So an overlay for each of the kinds of events.
Exactly.
And as you mentioned, museums, retail, I could imagine that there's a overlay for not just for people who are purchasing, but a different overlay for employees, where they're talking about merchandising and what was done and why it was done and why it looks this way. So for training and education purposes.
Yeah, we actually did that exact example for a hardware company here in Australia, where they scanned a number of their stores, and they're quite large, and rather than having to reprocess them, they've got one tour that's dedicated for employee onboarding, so understanding the space. They've got one that's forward facing to the end customer, and then there's one available for facility management. And so in each one of those, obviously different information is required in the tags, in the way it's presented, and who has access to it. Facility management one, for instance, is password protected, but the other 2 are publicly available, and obviously the information within there is different. So it's
awesome. I apologize. I took you away from showing us custom tags.
Yeah, not a problem at all. It's just, one of those things where create once, sell multiple times. It's always the theory that we like to bring back, because you can create so much value out of the single tool that we have. So going back to the example, I'm going to click add tag. It's very familiar, right? It's a matter tag right now. Nothing's changed. And so placing in a matter tag within this space, this should also look pretty familiar from what we are all used to when we're placing matter tags. So testing a tag, if it wants to work, that'd be great. Testing tag. There's a few options here, and we'll go through them in a moment. Media is exactly what it sounds like. We do have a little bit more functionality in our tags compared to matter tags, in the fact that we can change, put bold, italics, cut throughs. We can link directly in. You can have bullet points. So if I just do this for a second. It's just like a Word doc. I can number them, bullet point them, indent them, outdent them. And so you've got that customization within that frame. I know a lot of people do a lot of this customization in a Word doc and then copy it straight in to the matter tags, if you are even doing this sort of thing. But we've brought that functionality into this space in itself. Again, adding a media link, exactly the same as Matterport, YouTube, Vimeo, your Bitly links, anything to do with your media, it all makes complete sense, right? Where it gets a little bit more interesting, and something that I really like about this, is the website embedding. So we can now embed a website directly into the matter tag. Right now, you are probably used to having a hyperlink that takes you out of the tour. The purpose of this is to keep people in the tour itself, whether it's retail. So you could have the e-commerce page within that tag itself, museum showing the artist's website, or real estate showing the real estate agent's website. I'll just grab this website here, which is one of our partners. I've got permission to use. Testing a website. Doesn't like me doing it today. Web test. And I'll save that. Great. So in the preview, it's not going to show anything. Again, it's because we're in the edit mode for it. Before I do show the preview, I do want to go through one last thing around the icon itself. So we've connected this up into a database of thousands of different icons. So if I click on this icon here, you can see a handful of different options. But why don't you give me something to search here, Dan, see if I can find it.
Caution.
Caution. Get that load in for a second. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I spelled that right. Maybe there's no caution. Maybe you stumped me.
I don't know.
Plus-
That's probably not a good example, but I thought video, audio, photo, an icon. I saw an icon pop up, so it sounds like I can do custom tags, thus custom tags.
Yeah, absolutely. So exactly right. So being able to select from one of our thousands, or as you saw here, custom tags. And so being able to upload your own, obviously there's no caution ones that we've got there. So IKEA in custom tags. IKEA, we've got a few different examples that we did for a Nike store that we put together. And so you can even upload your client's logos as the icon itself on the tags.
Oh, that's awesome. So on that upload, is there a certain size? Is there a limitation? Is there a file format?
Yeah, so I'll quickly drop that in so you can see it there. You need to be really careful with these tags, and it takes a little bit of back and forth because the image is going to be compressed into a really small circle. And so not all images and logos are going to look good in this. And so figuring it out and playing with it, this one here at the moment is circular, but going back to that design page.
But if I have a choice, do I want to begin with something that's 32 pixels by 32 pixels, 16 pixels by 16 pixels, or 200 pixels by 200 pixels?
16 by 16 for the tag is probably going to be best to begin with. And it, hopefully, if I can actually show where this is, you can actually change the circle to a square and also the different colors as well. So if I was to change this background color, hopefully you see this come through, find the right tag. Great. And all that coming through on itself. And if I edit it. So if I quickly click preview here now, it's going to show me a preview of the tag, which I've embedded, which is a website, which is nice. So I can see it works. But the best way to show this is actually to go in to the preview section to see what it looks like in the tour. I'm going to start without audio, just so we don't have to go through that whole audio piece again. But again, it's an option. You can see in the top right corner, it just mutes it. So there's always a mute button available. As I move through the space, you can see the tag that was placed. If I click on it, it's bringing up the website that I've embedded. And so now I'm keeping this individual in the tour. I'm not taking them to the website, but they're still getting access to that information that I'd like to show them. And it functions just like a normal website. So I can go to any of their pages, obviously, and it will take me to that spot and show me what's going on. So I really like this feature. I think it's got a lot of usability around it as well, just in that website part, just there. So I jump back into this for a second. Sorry, I moved pretty quickly there. Any questions?
Well, as you said, I think there's lots of possibilities by being able to embed that page, and it's really probably doing three things. One is it's keeping the viewer within the tour. Two is it's enhancing the experience, and three, it's probably it probably enables transactions. So if you're actually looking at something, in, maybe there was a piece of art on the wall. Here's more information about it with the artist. I don't know, whatever it is, but then there's probably a call to action to buy it. And I'm presuming I could complete the transaction within that embedded web page without actually leaving the tour itself, if that was my preference.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And so it's just it's creating a tool that allows creatives to be creative in our thinking. So we've gone through a few examples together here, but I'm sure over time we're going to see a lot more use cases for this, and I really can't wait to see it. The last part on the tag as well, this is a big feature request for us, is the billboard. So what we call the billboard is the thing that opens up when you click on the tag. And so having the ability to change the sizes of it. So we had it on small, you can medium, large, you can even do full screen. So when someone clicks on the tag, we can take a full screen approach to what we're looking at. So if we go on that as an example, and you can change the background of these as well, and the text color. And so if we wanted to change the text color within that space, we're providing pretty much all customization to that tag itself, whilst it doesn't always necessarily require it. So if I quickly do a preview here again of this one, so if I view this, I'll show you my preview. Now it's taking me full screen. And so we've got this background color, which we've made on red, if you remember, in that moment. And now I've got that website in full screen view. Again, editing it. So I'll show you how I've designed that. I've got that color there. Let's maybe pick a more dark-ish color, like a gray. And full screen didn't really work. So let's see what medium looks like for this purpose. So I'm going to
I
save
also
it.
like that I could type in a hex number in there that I saw. So that's great for those who know what that is and find that helpful, that you don't have to pick the color. If you just ask your client, what are your hex numbers, whatever that is, they tell you the hex numbers, and then you can just type it in.
Straight in, correct, yeah. And then so if we preview this now, I'll just quickly save and then preview. Now it's large. I turned that background into green from red, and we're no longer full screen. And so having these abilities and having different ones, right? So each one of your tags could be a different size, be different information within it itself. This is all also optimized for mobile. And so on mobile, the sizing doesn't really come into play. What it does is it takes over 70% of the screen space. So you can see that website in a nice view, and then when you close it, it takes you straight back.
If I had a photo gallery, can I have multiple photos or videos within one?
Yeah, so the photo gallery is a new feature that we're about to release. And so we're going to be able to pull in the photos from Captured and create a gallery for you. Whilst that feature is in development, if you were to use a website to like a Flickr or similar, that you could have your album on like this. So this is the top of this website, right? But quite easily, you could have this as your photo gallery moving through the space. Same thing with videos. Anything with a carousel linked in from a web page will work perfectly fine at the moment.
Okay. Awesome. I think I'd like to do is take us up to the kind of the big picture, Stephen. I was just reading today an item in the We Get Around Network forum. 1/3 of homes that sold in the past 4 weeks are under contract within 7 days. 45% of homes that are sold in the past 4 weeks are under contract within 2 weeks. This is probably a good time for Matterport service providers that have built a business around residential real estate to be starting to think about other verticals like retail, museums, events, education. And it seems like what Captured has done is provided a feature set through the Captured Creator Studio to enable Matterport service providers to solve challenges for retailers, museums, events, education, and other verticals because of the feature set that you're providing.
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting to hear that data. Obviously, it's going to be different globally, but I think it's a trend that we're probably seeing with coming out of a pandemic. People are interested in this property side of things. And so utilizing the exact same services and skills and hardware that we've all got and entering into new markets is going to be an amazing opportunity. And a lot more of these spaces, like you mentioned in your list there, museums, education facilities, retail centers, they're now more open to these sort of technologies as well after the recent events. And so how can you then differentiate yourself rather than just providing a standard Matterport tour? Well, let's curate an experience. And so it's no longer just a tour. We're now creating experiences for our end clients. And all those tools that we went through today allow you to be unique in your offering back to your clients.
And that one of the words that I focused kind of resonated with me was add-ons. Everything you're talking about can be positioned as an add-on. This doesn't have to be given away for free. I guess that begs the question, does Captured charge for Captured Creator Studio?
Yeah, so you would have seen at the start, we've still got our beta tag on it. It's still all in public, completely available, and all works perfectly. We use it regularly for ourselves. It's currently for free. So everything that we showed you today there is for free. There is a $10, sorry, I was speaking US terms, $7 US virtual tour overlay fee, which gives you access to this. But outside of that, there's no extra additional costs.
So at some point there may be
Yes, there will be in the future, but our intention is to keep this at a really low cost base. And so if you are aware of Captured and you know our pricing and our structures, there is nothing more than $16, which is that floor plan. And so we're wanting to keep this as cheap as possible so people can make the use out of it.
Okay, I'm only kind of thinking ahead is to offer an add-on and not get stuck because the Matterport service provider priced it out at X and all of a sudden it found out that feature was going to cost X and therefore they weren't making any money on it. So that's at least something to keep in mind, that there will be a charge, but to actually challenge our viewers to be thinking about, how can I do, how might I use the Captured Creator Studio feature set to do an add-on for existing clients, which actually may even be in residential real estate. But how might I be able to position the services that I offer within other verticals, knowing that you now have this feature set? Museums, I thought, was just a great example because it checked all the boxes, embedding media, adding audio over the entire tour, adding audio for a unique scan point, adding audio whether you had certain into the room. I mean, it was like amazing as you went through this feature set to see all this. So I guess I would imagine that your team, who's actually put together all these features, are even curious of how Matterport service providers will use them, not only in expected ways, but perhaps in unexpected ways.
Yeah, and that's the best thing about it for us. A few things that are unpack through that. So the first point around charging something and then something being charged in the future. If you try anything on Captured at the moment, that's for free. It's always going to be for free. That tour, we're not going to go back and charge you for it. And so feel free to go enjoy that and know that you're not going to be charged for it in the future. Any new properties, when we do bring in pricing, obviously will. That second part around being surprised, we're actually getting more and more surprised every day. And it's one of those things where it's just a great feeling. A lot more people have started doing these virtual galleries that I mentioned earlier in the show, where they're scanning beautifully empty studios and then putting up artworks on the wall digitally, and now they're creating or curating these exhibitions or virtual exhibitions through these spaces, and something we didn't even think of. And there's just some amazing use cases and examples for it coming into play. And then what we try to do as a team, we try and lead the way in what we can do with our own tech, and so that people can kind of see what comes before it. About 2 years ago now, at the start of the pandemic, we did the university example, where we had that drone flights flying through multiple locations. And so that was a really great education example that had a lot of these features in it, including audio and custom tags. The museum example that we showed around there is one of the better museum examples in the piece. The retail one, I put it up on the Facebook forums a couple of weeks ago. We did for Nike as a retail example. And something that I'm really surprised at, and what I try to communicate to the clients is people are becoming aware of what a tour is worth in certain industries. But when you're adding these add-ons, as you mentioned, that extension of thought allows you to increase your price sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 times more than what you would actually charge. And you're really not doing all that much more. You're still getting that scan, and you're just doing a little bit of post-production, but it's increasing the value that you can charge to your clients.
Yeah, my only thought on pricing for our viewers is whatever you think that you're going to charge, and you have a price in mind, it's not enough.
Yeah, it's a good philosophy. Yeah, I'm always surprised. Yeah, for sure.
Stephen, is there anything else on Captured Creator Studio that we should discuss?
We went through the studio pretty thoroughly today. There's going to be more and more features coming into that space. It's an area that we're really interested in. All of our overlays are going to be coming into there. But the one thing that we did mention a couple of times, but I just want to make sure that it's known, is everything that we went through today: audio, staging, media, and tags. All of that is then available in augmented reality. And so you create your space within Creator Studio, then you use AR Connect from Captured, and you can actually see all of that in the real world in its position as you've placed it as well. And so it's just a nice combination and connection between the features that we've got going.
You're going to make my head explode.
One day, Dan.
It's crazy. Stephen, thanks for being on the show today.
Really appreciate having on. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. We've been visiting with Stephen Kunis. Stephen is founder and CEO of Captured. We've been visiting about Captured Creator Studio. And even beyond that, Captured offers floor plans, site plans, photo retouching, booking and scheduling, do-it-yourself virtual staging, augmented reality for Matterport spaces, branding, branded overlays, post-production. The list is mind-blowing. Encourage you to take a look at Captured. I'm giving you the website with the We Get Around Network affiliate link, wgan.info/captured. You'll get a $90 Captured credit to try out these other services. Stephen, thanks again. I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum, and you've been watching WGAN TV